Morning, it's Morbid Sunshine. I wanted to come on today to read out a few of the affidavits from Peter Hackett's case, Deposition. Also, just to have a general chat about where the case of Rex Human is likely to lead. It's likely to lead down a path that will take a long time, and we've noticed that the information that we have got is DNA based, and what we have to question is Hackett's involvement. Now, people might not agree with me, but there's a lot to be said about this gentleman talking about areas that only the serial killer, the Long Island serial killer, would know. And it's also pretty strange how he omitted a lot of things out of his statements, such as his house across the road from Ian Anderson. It's a good name to remember because I'm a Jethro Tull fan. So I'm quite fulfilled with this. I know that the speculation about everyone on that island would just be all day, and Adam's on his channel does it brilliantly. He knows far more than I do. I'm just trying to narrow down the reasons that Hackett perhaps is lying. One, he could be just a clout chaser that just likes attention from others. Two, he could be involved. Three, he could be involved and he's in group activity with it. It could be in church. It could be a group that's all. See, when we look at New York, remember Tupac saying how beautiful all them churches are built. How beautiful, and it's not a surprise that looking at his architecture, Heuman's, he could have covered a lot more than the area of New York. He could have buried people under them churches. These churches are, and these organisations that Heuman deals with are people who are vulnerable. There's also his kind of Heuman's church, in there as well. And I just think to myself that there's a lot of things going on with the case. So I think to myself, start with Shannon, because it did start with Shannon. And from there, I've read up to where I have on Murder Inc. I can't take any backlash or anyone saying, oh, you've got to do it a certain way, make it all nice and presentable. Listen, it's information. If you don't like how I'm presenting something, then you're the problem out there. You're the problem. Why can't we just stick to facts? Why are we speculating all over the place? Why are you getting channels to do that? It seems like there's a bit more said than's being said, yeah. I'm hoping now with the new person in charge that other charges will come. Valerie Max, evidence will come forward. I'm not sure if they've got DNA for Valerie, but it is similar MO. Now, people can change their MO. Modus operandi, it's called now. That means a serial killer's tactic of killing is always similar. You know, like Diddy's tactic is freak offs, party, and then stuff happens. It's a little the same with Heuman. The indication here is that there's dark web activity. When we look into Victoria Heuman's his daughter, never mind the satanical worshipping bishop who murdered children in my eyes. who's his uncle. This lady has put up art to do with cannibalism, satanic worship, bestiality and stuff like that, and you're telling me she doesn't know about Daddy doing that in the basement. So I think there is a network and a dark web network, and I think it does have a connection all round to something else. I don't think there's just human at all. I think there's more to it. Anyway, today I thought we'd read Joe Scally. Now, I am going to be polite and say to people, no, I can't pronounce every name under the sun, but I give it my best shot. Yes, I'm not the best speller, but I know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I wouldn't have worked in the jobs I have worked in. Okay. I am doing this to create awareness, to bring forth an end to abuse of women, for women to be safe, for men to be safe, people to be safe from devious, dark parasites like human, like Charles Hackett. I don't give a F. Charles Hackett has done something. You know, I don't know what, but having a girl in his backyard, Shannon, for all that time, he must have known. Okay, we'll look at Joe Salix. It's a statement, an affidavit that was made around the time. We'll find out the date now by looking at it. So, on to another angle. So I can't show you I can show you a bit of my face, I suppose. There we are. There I am. This writing, Scalisi, Joe Scalisi, his statement was made on the 1st of October, I gather, or the 1st, I don't know, American, is it? That would have been 1st of January, in 2016. I, Joe Scalisi, being duly sworn, depose and says that I'm 71 years of age, born November 18th, 1944, in Florence, South Carolina. I now reside at 39 the Bayou Oak Beach, ASAP, Oak Beach, New York, 11702. I live there with my wife, everything. I have lived at this address since 1971. On November 14th, 2012, in the early part of the afternoon, I went to see my neighbour Tom Canning, who lives at the 35 Anchor Way. I wanted to talk to Tom about what had transpired earlier that day by Peter Hackett's house between him and my story. Tom Canning told me he was offline and apologised. We continued talking with Justin. And two other men sitting at the time at the table on the side of Canning's driveway. I can't remember if I've read this out actually on one of the channels I've done, and one of the part, if you're not watching, I don't really want to explain, but I'm doing this separate so others can help with the case anyway. His son Justin and two other men sitting at the table on the other side of Canning's driveway. I asked Tom who was at Joe's brewer's house and the night of the 30th of April to the May 1st, 2010. During the party, Tom Canning stated to me that Joe Brewer left the house to get more coke. Tom said Shannon Gilbert was all coked up. He then went on to tell me about the same point. At some point, to get more coke. He then went to tell me at some point he was contacted by Barbara Brennan and went out with his dog and his son Justin later on. They saw footprints, wet footprints, coming from the beach. At that point, he meets up with Peter Hackett and he and Peter met up with Shannon. Canning stated that Shannon was agitated and out of control. Canning stated he and Hackett tried to calm her down and that Hackett gave her a sedated her. Canning said Peter was just trying to help her and Peter was a good guy. I became uncomfortable at that point. He shook hands and we walked home and I saw Canning and the other three men talking. End of that. So we have someone who's telling us that they've saw Shannon with Peter Hackett himself and Joe. Let's read again. Especially that bottom paragraph. Oh my gosh. Okay. They saw footprints, wet footprints, coming from the beach. At that point, he meets up with Peter Hackett and he and Peter made up with Shannon. Canning stated, doesn't sound right there. I don't understand their statements. Was Peter Hackett, did he see Peter Hackett with her or not? Why can't people just directly tell me this shit? It sounds like, it seems to me that someone's digging for the wrong answer and getting the wrong answer. I don't know. Stated, I mean, wouldn't John ask that? Was he with Shannon then? You saw footprint, hang on. Let's read again. I asked Tom who was at Joe Brewer's house the night of April 30th to May 1st, 2010. During the party, Tom Canning stated to me Joe Brewer left the house to get more coke. Tom said Shannon Gilbert was all coked up. He then went on to tell me that at some point he was contacted by Barbara Brennan and went out with his dog and his son Justin later on. They saw footprints. Now he's stating what they've said, sorry. They saw footprints, wet footprints coming from the beach. At that point he meets up with Peter Hackett. This is Justin. And he and Peter meet up with Shannon. Canning stated that Shannon was agitated and out of control. How do you know that? Canning stated that Hackett tried to calm her down and that Hackett gave her a sedative to sedate her. Canning said Peter was just trying to help her and Peter was a good guy. Who's this Canning? I became uncomfortable at that point. We shook hands and I walked home. I saw Canning and the other 3 men talking. End of statement. Right, okay. What do you think of that? So there's quite a few witnesses saying that Hackett had seen Shannon, you know. Let's go back to the deposition and see. Why is this all copied out again? I just copied the affidavit. I don't know. Let's have a look. Okay. This is the whole transcript of the synopsis, I think. Is it the synopsis? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure where we're up to with that, but I will try and hack that tomorrow. I'm looking for affidavits in the deposition today. We read out Bruce Anderson's. His statement was made in 2014. Scalise's was made in 2016. The statement from Bruce said that he's seen Hackett going in and out his shriveled old building that he lives directly over the road. So to me, sorry, I can't really see all my fault. Okay, let's look up. Okay, there's a lot of statements here. Let's read Barbara Hackett's. The transcript of Barbara Hackett is quite long. It's the whole but she highlights stuff that it just doesn't sound right, you know. Okay, now I bookmarked this for a reason. Peter introduced me to Mary Gilbert. This is when she met Mary Gilbert for the first time, yeah? How did he do that? What did he actually say? He said, Barbara, I want to introduce you. This is Mary Gilbert. What did you say then? If anything, I gave her a hug. What else did you say? I told her I was sorry for everything that was happening and hoping and praying that things would turn out okay. What did Mary say to you, if anything, or to anyone? when you were standing there. Thank you. I don't recall exactly. Do you recall in Sun and Substance what she said? In Sun and Substance, thank you. I'll read into this in detail because I go to page 59 and I haven't come back. Beautiful cat. Okay, sorry about this. It's funny how many people have something negative to say, but then I'm doing stuff that's actually worthwhile. Statement Evelyn Scalisi. Now this is his wife. Really felt uncomfortable, you know. Let's try and save this because it could be something useful. Evelyn Scalisi. I, Evelyn Scalisi, being duly sworn, deposes and says that I am 62 years of age, born the 1st of the 2nd, 54, in New York, New York. I now reside at 39 Bayou Oak Beach Drive, Association Oak Beach. I am employed by Massapequa School District. On or about the last weekend of June 2008, I visited my friend Marianne. Is that Conti? Marianne Conti, who lives in Oak Beach. I went to God, this is terrible. I went to the contest to see how Brian Conti was doing. When I arrived at their home, I encountered Marianne and Peter Hackett in the kitchen. They were just talking. I heard Peter Hackett tell Marianne that he was thinking about opening a clinic for drug addict wayward girls and prostitutes. I don't think Peter Hackett realised that I was standing there. When I heard the statements, it made me very, very awkward because there was an 8-year-old minor child in the house. I feel very uncomfortable in Peter Hackett's presence. So I left Conti to, I told Marianne I would see her later. When Shannon Gilbert was missing, I had spoken to Mary Gilbert about a week after her daughter went missing. Her daughter Shuri, who was in Oak Beach, inquiring about her sister Shannon, and she asked me if I knew Peter Hackett, and I asked her why. Sherry said because Peter Hackett called my mother. I asked her why he called your mother. She said Peter Hackett told my mother that he was a Suffolk County police surgeon and a medical examiner. And you're telling me he's not involved? He also told her that he had a doctor's office at Oak Beach and that he ran a clinic for drug addicts, runaway girls and prostitutes, and that hair was and not to worry about it. Cherie asked me if I would please call her mother. I got Murray Gilbert's number from the flyer I was holding. Cherie dialed her mother and told her that she was talking to me and that I knew Peter Hackett. I took the phone, said hello and identified myself. I said, your daughter told me Peter Hackett called you and made some statements to you. Mary then said to hold on a minute, and I have it written down in my notebook. She got back on the phone and said these are the things that he said to me. Mary reiterated the same things that Cherie told me. I told her that what Peter Hackett said wasn't true and lies. She told me she tried to call back Peter Hackett, but the phone kept on ringing. She tried numerous times, but no answer. From this, I gather that Peter Hackett is a part of this. Yes, he's old, but didn't his son commit suicide too, which obviously indicates some kind of situation there that forced that to happen. I am going to, as I say, keep on looking into the documentation and giving you up-to-date things. Now please subscribe because my content is being shadowed. They want a narrative to be out there about this case, and it stinks. It's not explaining the whole situation. Yeah, Peter Hackett might not have been the people in charge of what went place, but I think there's a possibility, and a very strong one, that he was helping drug these girls in some capacity. He's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart, darlings. You know, he's got something going on. There's a group activity, and human is never going to talk about it. He's never going to say, and do you know why? Because it involves the dark web. He also has a daughter who could be in danger and things of that nature, and a son. So I feel in some way it's been downplayed, repressed, but you're telling me he didn't do all that video record it and put it on the dark web when he was so meticulous. His daughter has art. She's sort of part of the combo, you know. In one of her posts, she was like, oh, I had a wonderful 11 years together. 11 years, you know, the man's 27. What was so wonderful about the past 11 years? Did he teach you everything he knew? Was he trying to convince you that this is normal? There's a lot of to be said about activities involving witchcraft. Also noticed that, this is probably on a random, that someone who's associated with the higher-ups, the elites, got out of prison on the 31st of October. Young thug. he's called. It's so very strange that, like, people who spoke up, like Jaime Kwan, were killed off. There's a lot of death in Long Island, a lot of different type of activity. What we are establishing here is all these people who have lost their lives. We might not know who exactly murdered them, but we are exposing what we know. And that is all I have to say today. Take care, everyone. God bless. Lots of love.